Welcome back, Generals, to another Let's Fix Generals 0 Hour to make the best game ever. Yeah, I was just browsing here the forums here. Let me make it a bit larger so we can read it. I wasn't recording, but I thought maybe we record a bit and see what the people write here in the forums. So this topic here is about no-brainer balance change discussion. The good old balance changes. It was opened by a Dominator. Yeah, over the last 4 years or so in the forums, any discussions that would change gameplay always ended in chaos because players argue about all the theoretical implications and, you know, like say it's bad, it's good, or it's okay or not okay, right? So, and then there will be different opinions. Some say this, others say that, and yeah, and everyone knows best, of course. Yeah, the pro players know best, the noobs know best, the free-for-all players know best, the Twilight Flame players know best, the Defcon players know definitely best. Yeah, everyone knows best. The developers know best. Yeah. Yeah, and it's always hot topic. It's not a hot topic right now because we're not so much working on it. I know Stubiax is doing some gameplay related changes which are currently disabled in our generated executables, but I think some are enabled on Generals Online right now. Yeah, but right now it's mostly testing phase, right? So like we didn't even release a public, like a release candidate yet, just test builds. Yeah, and yeah, everyone is discussing the favorite changes and so on. Yeah, so we do have a repository where we did a lot of gameplay fixes and tweaks and changes, which is this one here, this repository, which has a bunch of commits now. We didn't work on it in a while, since 7 months now, or maybe even longer. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so like Goldfish here. He made a post. He lists a few things like, what does he say? No-brainer bug fixes. Scaffold deletes money crates. Optimize China nuke missile. Blast delays. What is this? Oh, it's from me. This change optimized the blast delays of China nuke missile. Blast delays in milliseconds. Original nuke missile delay only has one blast. Patched nuke missile delay. There we go. Patched nuke missile delay. So this was the first patched version, had this. And the second now this. Original looked like that. Let's make it larger. Yeah, so you shoot there on the black markets, and the black markets take some damage, and they all go to hole. Yeah. Let me hold on here. Let's enable audio. Let's mute the music here. Let's enable audio so you can hear. Yeah. Let's enable it here.
We have launched our nuclear missile.
China is under attack! The blast comes much later than the actual explosion.
Unit lost.
Okay, so total destruction, yeah. Patched. Let's take a look at that.
We have launched our nuclear missile.
General, our base is under attack!
Nice destruction, much quicker. Also has 6 waves, which then allows it to kill the actual black market holes here, the GLA holes. Yeah, let's look at this again.
We have launched our nuclear missile.
General, our base is under attack!
So, in my opinion, like changes like this are good. Of course, they are like they are deviating from the original design or original setup, right? But I would hope that sometime in the future we could move to changes like this and, you know, really polish the game and, you know, make the features and the designs that are there and, you know, really polish it and make it nicer. Obviously, this makes now the nuke missile stronger against GLA, right? Because it can now clean up those GLA holes. And it also, the impact is a bit faster, the explosion, the damage. Yeah, so it's a buff for the China, but like China is not exactly a beast in the late game with its nuke missiles, right? It's probably one of the weakest in terms of the super weapon fights, right? Unless it has mass hackers and it can just spam everything. But generally, China will have a hard time against Scud Storms and particle cannons and you know, USA, whatever USA sends in, like Auroras and A10s and Spectres and so on, right? So yeah, I mean, things like this, obviously, you know, they deviate from the original, but like the original game, it has so many, there's so many bugs and small quirks and like so many opportunities to improve the game that certainly I hope that at some point we can commit to these kinds of things. Yeah. What is this? Decrease small poison field radius from 12 to 7.5. This change decreases small poison field radius from 12 to 7.5 to match small Anthrax beta and Anthrax gamma fields radius. The small poison field is used by Scorpion tank toxin shells. The particle effect size was adjusted to closer match the damage radius. So there are different poison fields for GLA weapons. And there are some small poison fields here. And some bigger ones here. And the nuke radiation as well. And then, okay, so we have a it says it here, rational. The damage radius of toxin shells no longer becomes worse after acquiring the Anthrax beta upgrade. Right, so you, the toxin, the Scorpion tank toxin shells start with radius 12, and then you get the Anthrax beta upgrade, and then the radius is reduced to 7.5. So it's a nerf, yeah. So it becomes weaker, yeah. The weapon becomes weaker after the upgrades. So in that regard, it would be better to not get the upgrade, but of course everyone gets the upgrade because the bonuses of the gamma and beta upgrade, of course, are much better, right? In some, but yeah, it's a bit strange. Yeah. Obviously, it would also be reasonable to think, okay, maybe it shouldn't be 7.5, maybe it should be higher, like 9, 10 or so, right? So maybe match the other guys here, but that would be a different question. Yeah, and then there's a lot of these discrepancies in the game where you have like upgrades are suddenly changing how things fundamentally work, like not in the ways you expect, but in some some side effects. Like for example, a popular famous example, the Toxin General terrorists, Dr. Thrax terrorists. Before Gamma upgrades, they apply more damage. And then you get the Gamma upgrade, and then they apply less damage. The Toxin General terrorist. Yeah. So it makes no sense. Like, why would it become weaker? Like, you expect you get an upgrade and it becomes stronger, not weaker. So it makes no sense. And like, there's no rationale for this, right? That something becomes weaker when you upgrade something, right? So it's clearly a bug, like someone fat fingered the setup, because things are copied. Like when they created like all the unit variations, they copy pasted from one general to another, tweaked the values here and there. It's just chaos. And obviously, the 0 Hour was super rushed, so they didn't really have time to polish all these things. So we have to go and find all these mistakes and fix them. But of course, it deviates from the status quo, right? Like the original game just has so many small and big bugs. Yeah, you can fix forever, and then of course the game changes as a result of it. But yeah, do you always want to play original game? Yeah, you can, of course. But I think there are also many players who would like to play a polished version, like polished in terms not just visual and audio and graphics, but also polished in terms of gameplay, right? Where every unit really feels highly polished, like all the upgrades, like they all make sense. It all, there's no like weird setups where, like for example, Strategy Center, USA Strategy Center, everyone uses search and destroy. Sometimes they use bombardment. Sometimes they use hold the line with Air Force General maybe to protect it against the enemy, to make the building tougher. But generally, everyone goes for search and destroy because it's a superior strategy plan with a larger range for the ground units. It trumps the other battle plans, right? Why? Because it's just so much better. Like the hold the line, it only increases armor by 11% or so. Yeah, instead of the range bonus is 20%. Why is the range bonus 20% and the armor bonus just 11%? And then the bombardment gives damage bonus 20%. So that's equal, right? So 20% range, 20% damage, but 11% armor bonus. Why is that this discrepancy? Why make it more unattractive? Like things like this, like why is it like this, right? So there's a lot of things like this. I think like one thing, I think Hellfire drone on the Humvee, when you kill it, you don't get XP for it, but you get XP for killing the scout and the battle drone. Yeah, but you don't get XP for killing the Hellfire drone, even though the Hellfire drone is the most expensive, has the best armor, especially against small arms damage from the quads. Yeah, so it can take a long time to take it out. Yeah, but you don't get any experience from it. So like things like this, like why is it like this? Because it's just like misconfigured, and then you can leave it like this, but then you just always play with like some strange setup, right? I guess it's fine, but I think like everything polished, the game will be a much better experience in the end. Yeah. And I think like once we have this established and players can easily access like a polished version of the game, and find other players that also use it and share like the goal is to make game setups with these fixes and tweaks as accessible as custom maps, so that you start, you open your game room in a network lobby or in the online lobby, and then you select your preferred map and your preferred patch setup or mod setup, game setup, whatever you want to call it. And then it would be transferred to the other players if they don't already have it, right? And I think this way should be pretty easy to discover, like, different setups, different versions that players like, and essentially players can then pick and choose what they like best. They can stick with the original setup, original game, or they can play some game with like a lot of fixes, or one with a lot of balance changes and tweaks, improvements, right? So like players will be able to not be forced into some area, but they can like pick and choose what they like best. And this then also allows to have like custom rules for like Twilight Flame or DEF CON matches or FFA matches, right? Where you maybe would want to say, hey, Max, no Aurora, please, no demo bikes, things like this, and then you could set this up, right, with a custom version for this. Yeah. So I hope that at some point, at some point we will get there. We are not there right now. We're still focusing on like core structural issues in the game, like mismatch and technical issues, everything that prevents players from playing, because these things like this kind of change is like really minor. It's like a tweak, and it's a very minor change, right? Like I would even assume that 99% of players wouldn't even notice. Like if you change this, I can guarantee you only like the most attentive players would notice this, that the radius of this one is increased suddenly. I can bet on this. Like we could sneak it in and ask, make a vote, all the players, hey, did you let them play 100 matches, and then ask them, did you experience any change? Just this, Then of course some people will cheat and they will look into the diff, what has changed, of course, and act smart. But I would say that 99% casual players, new players, semi players, even pro players, won't see things like this. And obviously this is not important right now. But in the future, I think it would be nice to fix all these kinds of things and roll it out. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else they write here. Let's get a little impression here. Sonic says, guys, it starts good. Guys, listen. It feels like we're going in circles again, and in the end, we won't get anywhere. Oh boy. These discussions have been going on for half a year now. Half a year? Have been going on for 4 years now, or even longer. There are no visible results. Well, there's a lot of work being done in the background. Maybe he hasn't seen it. We can keep talking about this for a long time, but it won't lead to anything meaningful. I think it doesn't hurt to talk about things if it's productive and everyone is coming in good faith. I think it's fine. It's time to start doing something real. It's time to move from theory to practice. You will never know how the game will change until you actually test it in the game. Yes, I agree very much with this. Yes. I think this has been like a pain point for me in the past, that most players, they just theorize, but they don't actually test the things. Like the first thing you test is like just in a sandbox setting and see how a certain change feels and how it plays out. Right, that's the first step. And then the second step, obviously, is to play it in real matches, casual matches, tournament matches, and see how does it feel in the broader picture, right? And only then you can derive like a real conclusion. And historically, this, I wouldn't say never happened, but it rarely happens when players talked about changes, because they just pictured it, they just theorized about it, they didn't actually test it, right? So there are like patches like patch 1.06 from 2010, and the Russian community patch 1.05, and probably many other patches where people did change some things, and there have been some matches played on these, but they all died in the end because what they did there wasn't significant enough, right? If you just tweak the game in some ways here and there, most players won't really care, right? They just want to have like a good overall core experience. They don't care about the details, like, okay, is this tank a bit stronger or weaker now? I don't care. They care about where are the most players. Do I have a stable experience? Can I connect with the other players? Does the game end in a mismatch? Do I have fun? That's it. And then they built like 10 laser turrets and build some Scud Storms and shoot and big carnage, and everyone is happy. Yeah. So historically, that's what I've been saying always. Like, we need to come with big changes, and then also supply like the smaller changes naturally that come with it, right? Once you have like the big patch established, then you roll out everything else that comes afterwards, right? Even like small changes for audio tweaks and improvements, visual art improvements, and gameplay changes, and of course as well, right? It all comes together and forms like a nice polished product in the end. But of course, like, the big problems are most important. Luckily, in the last months, we have managed to tackle a lot of these, so that's good. And let's see what else he says. I can try to rebalance the game and introduce changes that could improve overall balance, and prepare something that is fully ready for launch and testing. That would be a step forward. Well, everyone tries to do this. We need to test it first and then draw conclusions from the results. This is the most reasonable approach. Is anyone interested in this? Are there real people who would be willing to test what I prepare? Or are we all just going to keep posting pointless messages here? Oh, he makes a big announcement here. I mean, I think it's, you just have to start working on something, and then you put it out there, and then you see if people like it or not. That's what you do. For me, in the past, I've been working now for 4 years on patching the game, and I didn't ask anyone for permission. I just go ahead and I think what is reasonable, and I work on it, and then I see if I like it, see if some other people like it, that if they can give feedback or not, incorporate it, and then go ahead. Like, if we just wait for all community, then we never get anything done. So we just have to do something and then put it out there. Now, I never released anything yet, so I never released like a final product, like, hey, here, this is version 1, let's go. I never put a release. I just worked on things and, just kept adding more and more and more. And, projects grow and grow larger and larger. But I think that's the only way to really go about it. When the product is not yet done, just keep building it, right? And then once it would be in a good state, then release it, right? So yeah, just do it and see if people like it or not. I think this list needs filter down again. Pilot not vetting up a unit, that's a bug and should just be fixed without the bug. Nuke change feels totally unnecessary. Not sure what's the point in changing it. It's kind of cool, iconic that it has a small delay. Well, the point, one of the main points was killing the GLA holds. That's the main point of the nuke change. I don't know if you missed that. It was actually requested by users that the nuke missile would be able to kill the GLA holds. Yeah. For the small delay, yeah, I guess it might be personal preference. I don't know. I'm trying to remain respectful, but to me, your posts so far don't add that much value. Oof. Oof. Topic says no brainer changes, but your first game was changing 10k starting cash to 15k starting cash. Mm-hmm. Say no progress is being made, but here in this topic is a proposal for committees and a vote on the easiest changes. I also disagree with the statement that no progress is being made. There's so much progress. We have made so many changes over the last years. Like so much ideas, and we gathered like not all, but a lot of the big bugs, small bugs, found a lot of quirks everywhere, and not just things that affect gameplay, but also like a lot of like there's a lot of bugs with hotkeys, for example, like key collisions or like gross discrepancies. In various languages, and mislabeled things, and there's just so much wrong in this game. But not everything affects gameplay, right? So you can be busy enough fixing the game without touching gameplay. Like there's infinite amount of work, basically. Yeah, and if you then add gameplay on top, well, then it gets a little bit more buggy. Yeah. In the end, to get everyone to play it, you will need a vote and everyone to agree. So far from what I see, I can tell you changes are not gonna be as tiny as what I proposed. Well, I think the people don't really read what I write. I wrote already multiple times that we want to go for this game setup thing later, where people can share their own setups, and then I think it will be easier to like onboard people to new setups, and for people to make their own custom changes on top of other changes. Yeah. But yeah, it's not, the tech is not there yet. Typically, like for players, it's easiest to just have something that they can use and then evaluate that and work with that, right? So like working in theory, like we will have this and that tells nothing to players. They need to have it and use it to really have an opinion on that. Like I think for most players, it's really hard to like imagine how something would play out because they can't really use it yet, right? So it's best to roll out something that players can use and then see if they like it or not, right? And then you can work with that, iterate on that. Yeah. Some more no-brainer bug fixes. Some of these might seem unimportant to mention here, but still think is important. People know these. Use a spy drone can no longer be selected but attacked. Burton knife attack animation skip exploits. GPS scrambled rangers and red guards remain staved while capturing buildings. Fixed Spectre gunship selected by W shortcut. Spy drone selected by Q shortcut. Non-vanilla USA Avengers attempt to retaliate with a blue laser. And so on and so on and so on. Dominator's always so negative here. Can we focus on actual changes? Well, it's not so negative. I think, okay, he's asking to focus on balance changes, I guess, in this topic. Yeah, okay. No-brainer balance change discussion. Can't use cover. Can we just focus on actual changes? But then I think he himself posted a list where he also listed bug fixes, right? Let me see that. Okay, now I'm confused here by the purpose of this topic. Let me see that. Oh boy. Okay, well, this topic is getting... I need to read it in a calm minute. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, how about we get back to work? Yeah. Then I will mute this here again. Okay. Good. Yeah. In the past, it was always very difficult to invite people into these kinds of discussions because everyone wants something different, right? Like it's really hard to agree on some things. And I think it makes sense, like players want different things. And so I think in the end, we will have to provide different setups for different audiences. So I expect that pro players, they probably will prefer like a game that is more original to the retail game experience with like many bugs, like the scaffold bugs, for example, things like this, right? Whereas like the semi and new players and casual players, they would probably prefer like a more polished game, right? It's probably mixed. Like maybe some noobs also prefer the retail stuff, but yeah, like personally, I'm somewhere in between. I don't want to be stuck at all the like quirks of the original game with all the obvious bugs and strange setups, but I also am not a fan of going like totally nuclear and, you know, like changing how things work, like, you know, changing the way like let's say removing one of the cannons from the Overlord. Like things like this I would not be a fan of. Like it should still be the same game with the same factions and, you know, the same upgrades, the same units and same powers and, you know, the same style of the things, like the same game with the same content, but everything just polished in a way where everything feels nicer. Like all the upgrades make sense, all the units, they feel good, they feel powerful, they have purpose, they Like you feel like you have control with your general. You have a chance. You have a fighting chance. There are no weird bugs. They don't glitch out. It just is fun to play with all the different units, abilities, and generals. And yeah, everything feels nice. And I think that's, at least for me, that's the main purpose. And then obviously there will be players who like to go even further than this. They like to add new factions, new unit abilities, and I think this will be satisfied by mods like Shockwave mod and Contra mods and these kinds of things, or maybe then even mods for the game that go further, like I don't know, maybe add a new general that is a mix of Air Force and super weapon, I don't know, EMP Raptors. Yeah, I don't know. Could be fun, right? But I think like one doesn't have to exclude the other, right? So you can have different game versions, and as long as players can discover each other and can play, right, different kind of versions, then I think that's all good, right? Like maybe one day, we feel like, oh, we want to play this fun mod here. It's a bit different than the original experience, but maybe it's fun. And, if it's fun, then I think that's all good. What is also an interesting thought is that maybe that I'm not yet certain of, and I think that's way far in the future, like thinking about, okay, the original generals, like the laser general, for example, we know that there was supposed to be a laser Burton and a laser Comanche, yeah, and laser Ranger, because there are sound files for these things in the game, and I think even models, yeah, but they are not actually implemented in the logic. So, there could be a case to make where you say, okay, maybe it would be nice if the laser general had the actual laser Burton with a laser rifle, right? And the laser ranger, Like for first step, you could make it visual only, that they just look like this, but the damage is still the same. But then maybe you say, okay, we also wanted to, we wanted to shoot the laser, yeah? So why not? Right. I mean, it could be thought. It would be. This would be. In my perspective, this would already be quite a bigger direction. Like changing the core units to have different weapons, different kind of weapons, right? No. Good. Anyway, then let's make an update to, I think there was a comment on this guy here. I think this if statement is superfluous. Yeah. Let me look at all my changes. So this one was not reviewed. What about this one here? Let me see. Reduce cost. Okay. Okay. No further comments there. No comments here. Okay, so it's only this one. Good. Center limit. Center limit. I think this if statement is yeah, okay. Fix height map update center. Fix update. Fix update. What? Fix height map. Fix. Yeah. So he says this condition is totally obsolete. Let's see, is that true? Yeah. Yeah. I think he's right. I think he's right. That looks totally obsolete. So let's remove this guy. Oh boy, the lag. Okay, let's compile that and then see if the game still works. Okay, then let's see what is currently approved. Oh, state approved. No, review approved. Review approved. Okay. So I guess we can merge this one and this one. Do not show false resume construction cursor for allied scaffolds. Do not show false resume construction cursor for allied scaffolds. Okay. Then copy the text here. Yeah. Okay, what do we have here? Fix possible grayscale rendering issue on hardware without .3 product. I think this one was also already approved. There are eyes and thumbs up, okay. Yeah. Before hardware without .3 support may render grayscale textures as solid, opaque squares. Hardware without .3 support will render grayscale textures as darkened. Okay, cool. Cool. Fix possible grayscale rendering issues on hardware without .3 support. Fix maybe we should say fix possible fix squash and merge. Okay, cool. Let's also give it a thumbs up here. Yeah. Okay, so this change has compiled. Let's run it and see that things still work, but I think they should. I think we can also fix this here, say couple, where we edit. I think many players also they probably assume the worst, right? They have the expectation that when other people touch the game, that the game becomes worse because of it, and maybe they don't expect that the game becomes better when other people touch it, because like, yeah, how do you trust other people that they take good care of something, right? If you don't know them and they don't have like authority or credentials, right? So person XYZ comes out of the shadows, makes changes, and you don't trust it naturally, right? So there will always be some level of distrust, right? Towards people doing anything until they can, test it and see for themselves whether or not it's good, right? So that's why I think it's always good to just build something and put it out there, and then people can decide for themselves whether or not they like it. Okay, so I think the game still works. Let me, how did we unlock the scrolling? I forgot. There was some key combo to unlock scrolling, but we can do that. Yeah, okay, so that still works. Okay, cool. Then remove excess condition. All right. Good point. Remove that. Test it. It worked. Okay, now the diff looks a bit bigger, but if we hide the white space, then the diff will look small again. There we go. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have that. Then the next I will wait for these two to compile, and in the meantime, let's get back to the null pointer branch here, yeah. Big ass null pointer branch. Let's go to let's open Windows Explorer. Oh boy, things are slow. Oh boy. CMake. Okay, let's enable. Let's enable all the tools, everything. Yeah, generals. Tools, extras. Profile. Extras, tools. That's it. 0 hour, profile, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, let's generate. That is the idea. I want okay, so I asked Undead here regarding GenHub. I wrote, I still advocate for having no static providers. All providers live in JSON and are owned by the respective publishers and can be bundled or not bundled with the app. This way, alien publishers can easily distribute GenHub the bundled with their own JSONs and no static publishers. And it would be up to the end user to import other publishers. That's the idea. I want a provider definitions and catalog generation interface for publishers to create JSON files and share those definitions with users. Users can then import them either using GenHub subscribe equals shit, censored shit, URI links, or the JSON files themselves. The static providers are currently bundled with the app, so I could prototype how the system would look like. Okay. And what to keep in mind, like a manifest factory. Okay, so it's just temporary. Those are very relevant concerns. For GitHub, we use their API, which can result in users getting rate limited. Okay. For others, we scrape Leggy.cc for its patch. Okay. Well, that seems a bit excessive. And use the Generals Online API endpoint for their release. Okay. So Leggy.cc is scraped. Generals Online API, GitHub API. Okay. Currently, web scraping is not much of a concern. However, in the future, regarding ModDB, CNC Labs, and AOD maps, those three providers will be scraped. So the first point is relevant. Put computing pressure on third-party infrastructure. That was my concern. Well, not my directly. Someone else had the concerns. I just forwarded them here. A user raised concerns about a GenHub web scraper because it could put computing pressure on third-party infrastructure, hide publisher-favored creation by automatic creation of scraped contents, break if a website changes page contents. So that's what he is answering to here. So he says the three providers will be scraped. So the first point is relevant regarding their infrastructure. Okay. So we will lag those websites. Yeah. Well, each user that scrapes, essentially. The downside of automatically discovered content is that it provides a vast catalog, but no cohesion between them. Users cannot subscribe to a single author from those three publishers, whereas importing provider definitions will allow them to see all relevant content like add-ons for mods and language packs from the publishers they actually follow. On your third point, those websites haven't changed their layout or page content in about 10 years. Okay. You are also web scraping for letters and tournaments at this moment of time, and there lies a GH scraper in BW. What the hell is that? BW in between with the user? I don't know what that means. BW. The user and the publisher, which should not be the case and was never the intention. Publishers should have full control over how much, what content they publish. And users should have a one-to-one relation with a subscribed publisher without any middle party. I'm concerned that replicating letters or tournaments one-to-one on GenHub via web scraping does not achieve anything, but instead complicates the app and alienates potential publishers. I cannot talk. I cannot read English, that's for sure. I hope that is not your plan. GenHub Emo should be a hub where all publisher content is accumulated in a structured manner, and obviously it should handle all the game profile stuff, but it doesn't have to be doing 10 to 15 different things, which may be termed as ancillary, I've never seen that word before, aspects of the game community. Instead, it could guide users toward already established community centers with deep integration with those services in many aspects. There shouldn't be reinventing of the wheel at the cost of making things more complicated and time intensive. We don't web scrape the Go leaderboard, that means Generals Online leaderboard or Game Replays website at this moment. I only opened a pull request for those to see how they would look in the UI and the user interface until a more comprehensive system is in place. It was mainly to demonstrate how those features could be displayed in GenHub. Ultimately, GenHub should provide value to the user. If someone wants to view a match they just played on Generals Online, they should be able to go to the Generals Online tab, click on match history, and download the replay. This is a user experience focus where users don't have to worry about remembering match IDs and finding files via the Generals Online assistant and manually moving them to the documents folder. I see people struggling with that flow when playing on GenTool or Generals Online. The Game Replays Tournament Scraper was a simple quality of life feature to start integrating game replays with GenHub. Tracking active or upcoming tournaments is a useful thing for everyone. Currently, it's just a single page request to the tournament board post that Yas upkeeps on game replays. If Yas were to create a static web page hosted on GitHub or Vercel for this, they could manage the tournaments on their site and we wouldn't need to scrape game replays. Any publisher could curate content. That is what I keep in mind when implementing features. I focus on whether users get value out of them, and so on and so on. Yeah, okay. I think it's good that that the static providers are temporary for now. It makes sense for testing, sure. To me, like the scraping stuff, I think it sounds useful for users. You know, they can scrape pages and then it discovers relevant content and then they can use it instead of like browsing the website and downloading it from there, which, you know, could be more complicated to navigate. But I agree with this concern here, putting pressure on third-party infrastructure. So this needs to be done carefully. Like, I mean, if it's just accessing, if it's just loading an HTML website and then just parsing it, then that should be fine because it's the same as if you use your browser to access the website, right? It's the same thing essentially. So as long as it's just like really simply accessing, loading HTML pages and just reading its contents and then just interpreting the links it sees there and then, you know, build some contents out of it, then I don't see much issues there. If it follows links, like let's say it starts somewhere at a top tree leaf and then it goes down all the leaves, all the links recursively, then this could be quite costly. So that could be problematic. But yeah, I guess there can be cheap ways and expensive ways. Hide publisher favorite curation by automatic curation of scraped contents. Yeah, personally, I don't think that's big of an issue because if a publisher really wants to put out curated content, then you can just do that, right? Otherwise, you know, if there's this automatic method of curation, then the user can just choose to use it or not use it. I guess it doesn't hurt. It just shouldn't put pressure on the infrastructure. Break if the website changes page contents. Yeah, I think the way, I don't know, maybe it can. I never implemented the web scraper, but I would imagine that to like you can, I don't know, I would imagine that I just download the HTML page, I look through it for links to downloads, right? I look for like, okay, is there like a map description, like a description for this map or for this add-on or whatever it is, and then the link, and that's it, right? Not much else. Get some bare bones information about it, but yeah, if the website layout changes, then maybe you cannot associate the content name with a content URL anymore. I don't know how easy it would break. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I think as long as it doesn't put pressure, then it's probably okay. If it breaks, yeah, well, then you have to disable it again. Well, if it breaks while the user wants to use it, then that would be a bad user experience. But he said that it didn't change for 10 years. Yeah, makes sense. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do we do next? So we built this. Oh, not yet. We just regenerated the solution. Okay, so then so this one is built by now, I guess. No, it's still building. Okay. Then next we can merge this one and this one. And then this one. Oh, we merge it in this order. Let me click on here. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so then how about we build this? Yeah, so now basically there should be a lot of null PTRs, yeah. Null PTR. And so the issue we currently have with this change, let's compile it first. Yeah. Circling one more time back to the balance change thingy topic. So here, here. So here Dominator, so he wants like top 10 changes or something like this, right? Tank, hacker price reduction, China, internet center, health points increase, hacker disable building means it cannot be sold. Currently can be sold. Sentry drone gun deployment a little faster. I agree with that. It should just remove this deployment. That's what we have done in our data branch. I agree with this one. I also agree with this one, which we also have changes for. I'm not sure if I agree with this one. I think this needs some investigation, how it compares with other weapons. Disable weapons and abilities. Beacon limits, yeah. Increase, sure. Agree. Supply drop planes not attackable. Yes, very, very much agree, and we have a change for that as well. Basically, what we can do, what we did is make them attackable, but not auto-attacked. So So the units don't automatically engage them anymore, but you can still force fire the supply drop zone planes. And I think that's a good compromise. So because you still need to be able to shoot them down, because you might want to stop them from dropping their money onto the drop zone, right? So you can still kill them, but they're not auto-attack, because the auto-attacking is just so annoying. You get those radar event spams. The performance is tanking because everything is shooting and triggering particle effects and bullets and, all sorts of things. It detracts your army all the time. Like USA gets this like free cannon fodder units that just fly over the map all the time. Like the more drop zones you have, the more supply drop zone planes just fly to the opposition all the time. And, everything shoots on these things, and like it distracts all the base defenses, and it's really awful. I think there are some more points. We wrote this down somewhere. I think there are some more negatives, but I forgot these already. Yeah, so it's annoying, and I very much like to see this fixed. So it's good that he also lists this here, and I think other players probably also would like to see this gone. Fixing China, those are movement bugs. Yeah, it has this weird turning, and those are really shitty. This is changing Gatling cannon tank targeting priorities so they don't waste shots on air units and drones instead of actual units. Yes, this one we also have fixed. Very much agree with that. Basically, the problem is they auto-target the drones when you actually click on the enemy ground unit. Yeah, so you click on the Humvee, but the turret still targets. It auto aims on the drone, even though you don't want it and you can't control it. So it's really bad. It's a bug. Yeah. Internet Center satellite hack to have a button on sidebar with cooldown shown. Is this just for visuals or to also trigger it? So we did, in our data patch, we did implement a experimental change where we put satellite hack 2 on a button, same as like the strategy center from USA, the satellite scan. Now, obviously, it's debatable whether this redesign is really acceptable or not, but it's a way to do this, because the original satellite hack 2 is a bit sad, right? Satellite hack 1 is good, right? You always see the enemy command centers and some radios around it, right? So that's good. And you can see like if enemy planes come in and things like this. But satellite hack 2 is sad because it auto activates for 30 seconds or so, every 4 minutes or so, I don't know. And so you can't use it to time with an attack. And then it just comes without a warning, right? So it just activates, you see everything, and then, but maybe at this moment, you're busy with, I don't know, base building, and you don't need it at that moment. So it's a bit inconvenient. And the USA Strategy Center scan is certainly much better than this. And considering that the China has to first get the internet center and get 2 upgrades, which cost, I don't know, a lot. I think 1,500 and 3,000 or something, I don't know. It certainly is quite a little bit of an investment. 2,000, 4,000, I don't know. It's expensive, right? Or 1,000, 2,000, I don't know. So it's an investment. It takes time, and it's not a great upgrade. Yeah. Fixing the new cannon bug where it sometimes ignores hitting the selected target and fires at nearby unit buildings on its own. Where it sometimes ignores hitting the selected target and fires at nearby units buildings on its own. Okay, I'm not sure what this refers to, but it certainly sounds like something that needs fixing. Improving mines so units cannot walk over them. Okay, but so earlier we read a message from Dominator where he said no bug fixes, just talk about changes, meaning balance changes, because that's here in the title. But here he also lists bugs in his list, so he's not really clear on his definition, I would say, because this one reads like a bug. It literally says bug here, new canon bug. This one is a bug. This is not a gameplay tweak, balance change. It's a bug. Units are not supposed to walk through mines. Yeah. This one is a change. This one is also a bug. The Gatling cannon thing. This is not a balance change. It's a bug. It affects balance and gameplay, yeah, but it's a bug. China, those are movement bugs. It's probably somewhere between bug and design. Yeah. Drop zones, planes, not attackable. Oof. Also, I would also say somewhere between a bug and design. It's like just really badly designed, and I think EA didn't think that properly through when they built this. Beacon limit, okay, this is just a design change. Sentry drone gun deployment, a little faster. This is definitely design. Hacker disable building means it cannot be sold. This is design change, and I'm not sure if I agree with this. China Internet Center, definitely design. I agree with this. Tank hacker price design, I agree with this. So in his list, he already has design and bugs. So yeah, he needs to make up his mind of what he actually wants. Once he balance changes, does he want bugs, gameplay changes? So as a gameplay, so there's probably the following categories. There is non-controversial bug fixes that affect gameplay. Then there is controversial bug fixes that affect gameplay. Then there is non-controversial design changes that affect gameplay, and then controversial design changes that affect gameplay. I think those four main categories. And so what do you do about non-controversial bug and design changes that affect gameplay? Are these always okay to touch or not? And then obviously, like, how do you derive whether something is controversial or not? Generally, so far, historically, we have just applied common sense, whether something is controversial or not. Basically, well, if something changed gameplay in like some user-facing way, then we said, okay, this is controversial. Like, you know, like if you touch reward or damage or armor or, you know, some stat that affects, you know, a strength of something, then it's typically controversial, right? Yeah. And then you have controversial bugs and controversial design changes. Yeah. And bugs, you know, bugs are generally, I would say, are more important to fix than design changes. And maybe it's also, I think it's also reasonable to fix bugs first before making design changes, because like if you make bug changes, it already, you know, it influences like how things play out. And so the design needs to follow after, you know, all the mechanics are fixed and proper, right? So yeah, first fix, like make the feature, the functionality, make that correct first, and then fine tune it, right? And find like a good setup that works well. Good. So did this finally build? Let me see, commits. Yeah, this one built, okay. Here I'm still waiting for a review. Okay, so I will wait for this, and then afterwards we can merge. I think we can already merge this guy. Update center, okay. Squash and merge. Reduce cost of min height loop in this function by 93%. Okay, performance, okay. Cool. Confirm, squash, and merge. Let's go. Delete branch. Boom. No? Yes. Okay. Cool. Then let me get back to code. Okay, 71 succeeded targets. So let me search for CPP macros. CPP macros. Okay, so we have now added a lot. Okay, let's see if we can reduce this further. So he added it to debug. Debug.h. Okay. LAN player. Okay, why is it in LAN player? Oof. Uh-huh. LAN player. Null PTR. Yeah, it's a bit sad to include this file just to get this null PTR here. That's a bit bad. Why is this necessary? Okay, let's remove it and let's see what happens then. Well, that succeeded. Okay. Well, first one is gone. Thank you. Okay. FEB dispatch. FEB dispatch. Okay, well, we remove it. Let's see what happens. Ah. Well, of course it compiles here because this one knows about null PTR. Yeah, well, that's stupid. Hold on. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to open a command prompt. We need to go to here and we go here and hello. Okay, it has problems opening a notepad here. Good. So we want this guy. Oh boy, what is happening here? Everything is slow right now. Oh. Okay, so we are interested in 0 hour on, tools on, extras on, yeah, generals on, extras on, core tools on, core extras on, everything on. Debug on. Everything is on now, yeah? Okay. Then we put that in here. do VC6 clean, but oh boy, 2,800 files. It's not the fastest. So it should fail to compile now, right? Because this one is commented out. Well, looks pretty successful so far. Okay. So looks like Mr. Sky Aero is happy with this now. Okay, cool. And we can also merge this once the other one is done. Still busy. Okay, so we have a unexpected end of file. Oof. util.h. Oof. Okay, there are compile errors here. Export log. Okay, let's open Visual Studio Code. I think he just didn't test this plugin. Yeah. Didn't I just launch this program? Is it not launching? Oh boy. It's not launching. Well, that sucks. Did it brick itself? I suspect it did, yeah. It happened already a couple of times that the Visual Studio Code auto updater destroys the program. So yeah, you do the auto update and then just the app is uninstalled or something, or something is broken then, and then you need to reinstall it again. So, oh, it does something now. Okay. Okay. It seems it's launching, but it's very slow. Fantastic. Okay, while we wait for that, let's see if we can review something else. Review. Windows not responding. Oh boy. What is this? What is this? Review. Let's see. Let's just go here. Pull requests. Okay, this one is not a draft anymore. Okay, it's not a draft anymore. Okay, cool. Then let's take a look at this guy. Get game logic random value unsynchronized. Unsynchronized. Is that a right word for this? Unsynchronized. Unsynchronized. Why did he describe it? Let's see. Scripted audio events are synchronized across clients. Scripted audio events are synchronized. That means that if the script execution fails for some reason caused by another bug, there's a CSC mismatch. This pull changes that so that scripted audio events are still likely to be the same across clients, but script execution failure does not result in a mismatch. Okay. Deal with get is logical audio. Could maybe delete the function or add an assertion that it should be used. Get is logical audio. Why call this unsynchronized? Is logical audio. Attack to play. Logical audio. Game audio random value. Game logic random value. Unsynchronized. Yeah, maybe the word makes sense. I don't know. Unsynchronized. Game logic random value. Maybe call it reads. Read only. But then this one, read only, get. I do like that it sorts nicely next to this one, so that should be kept. Unsynchronized, perhaps that's a better word for it. Yeah, unsynchronized, it's, I don't know, it's a bit confusing, this word. Something with read only, get game, here, without get game real, no change on no real, no game logic. Maybe call it get maybe current value. Get game logic current value. Get game logic current value. It means multiple calls to this will always, multiple calls to this in succession will always get the same value. Is that okay? Means multiple calls to this in succession with nothing else in between will always get the same value. Is that okay? A random value does not change the seed values. Unsynchronize. Oh, it does give a random value. Oh. Seed. Okay. Would it find that function? Oh boy, the parsing slows down everything right now. Oh boy, this computer is useless right now. Okay, for some reason I cannot find this. Okay, delta high low. Okay, random value. Okay, why is this so much more complicated here? Integer random value does not change the seed values. Random value, what does this do? Oof, okay. So it copies the seed over and then takes the seed. Okay, but this always gives the same value, right? I suspect this will always return the same on consecutive calls. Same value on consecutive calls. That's my impression, because the seed will always be the same. Well, unless random, let's see, random value. Random value. Well, is that really the correct function here? Game logic random value. Here. Random value. Okay, but this will always be the same. Yeah. So my impression is that this function will always return the same for as long as the seed doesn't change, right? Yeah. Okay. But in general, do we agree with this change? Let's think about this. So basically his goal is to say, okay, those audio events, this is a logical audio. It wants to use this seed. What is the seed for? Which? Okay. So it wants to select. I see. It kind of makes sense, yeah. So it's logical audio, and you want that all the clients hear the same variation of this. Okay, that makes sense, yeah. But you don't want to modify it because, yeah, okay, because maybe only one client is supposed to hear this and not the others. Okay. Yeah, and then it should not cause a mismatch. Yeah, okay. I kind of agree. Yeah. In principle, this looks like the right thing to do to avoid mismatching. Good. So regarding the commits here, yeah, this one has succeeded. Then we can mark this as resolved, and then we can merge this guy, fix center limit condition, blah blah blah. Okay. Clarify magic numbers related to vertex buffer tile length. Yep. That we can also merge. Okay, cool. Good. Then we have those done. Good. Good. So regarding the oh boy. Okay, so regarding this one, so we have a compile error in export log CPP. Oh boy, my machine is so laggy right now because of the parsing. Okay, what is this including? Oh boy, export log.h. Ugh. Is there like some common file here? Resource.h. How about we ask, let me ask ChatGPT. Yeah, but that's also bad. I wanted to ask if there's a way to in CMake to inject a header into all files. But then the problem is that this would be, the project would be very, yeah, but it's already related to CMake anyway. So let me see. Let's ask this. Is there a way in CMake to inject a header into the entire project so that all compile units see and use it? All compiled CPPs see and use it. Yes, 3 common ways. Inject precompiled header. Every CPP to behave as if it had include my header at the top without modifying source files. Use precompiled headers. Header is effectively included first in every translation unit. I think we already have that kind of thing, right? Let me see. Let's search for precompiled. CMake here. No. Here, target precompile headers. Z game engine. Precompile head. Damage. Target precompile headers. Yeah, debug. How about we add that here, if that works. Yeah, maybe. So we can test it with the Max plugin. Yeah, how about we do that next session? I would take a break now. Next session we add a precompiled header to the Max plugin for the CPP macros and see if it then compiles. Yeah. And if it does, then we would need to add it to all the different projects. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we can try that. I've seen this, I think. This video. Good. Then, yeah, let me take a break here. I think it has been now almost 2 hours. 2 hours is always a good goal. Yeah, I hope you learned something. We didn't get that much done. I think mostly was talking about stuff, right? But okay. I think in the future we'll probably have more gameplay related videos, but right now not really, right? Still just fixing things and building up the code foundation. And but I think there will be a time when we get back to to things closer to game. And historically, I didn't make videos when I was working on these things. So yeah, a lot of things that I investigated and worked on, unfortunately not presented in videos, which probably would have been interesting, but I was just focusing on working. I didn't make the videos. But now doing those videos retrospectively, I think has been a benefit, because it probably opened this kind of development to a wider audience and got some people interested in contributing, which was the initial goal of these videos. So we'll keep doing them until we made the perfect best game. Yeah. When the game is done and all fixed, then yeah, what is the next step afterwards? Then streaming matches again, right? playing the game. That will be the next step. Yeah. But first we have to fix it, because it's unplayable game. At least it was 10 months ago. No, game was unplayable. Yeah. Good. Then, yeah, I wish you a great day or night. Until next time. Goodbye.